So this is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she uses controversial rule on social media.
So I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like, who is it? Like, who is he? And, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
Child, leave it to 50 Cent to keep his foot planted firmly on French Montana's neck. This man never misses a chance to troll, always keeping a slick jab tucked away in his back pocket for the moment French's name pops up in the blogs. But this time, it has not just 50 tossing out shade for laughs. His latest hit cracked open a much bigger conversation that S got everybody talking. Because the word on the street is that French Montana isn't just ducking industry drama. He might actually be running headfirst into something way worse, the glittering gold-plated cage of Dubai royalty. On the surface, the headlines sound like a power move. French Montana engaged to a Dubai princess worth a jaw-dropping $18 billion. To the casual fan, it looks like French leveled up for real, going from Coke boy to global kingpin overnight. But scratch beneath all that sparkle, and the picture ain't nearly as clean as it seems. Insiders are whispering that French ISIS' so-called escape plan is less about love and more about pure survival. With Diddy still tangled in federal heat and the feds allegedly building cases on anyone too close to those infamous bad boy freak-offs, French might be trying to secure a safe haven overseas. Engagement ring or not, folks are questioning if this move is romance, or just a desperate play to dodge the storm that's brewing back home. French Montana allegedly needed a plan B, and on the surface, Dubai looked like paradise. Shiny towers that touched the clouds, gold-plated cars rolling down the streets, and money flowing like water. Who wouldn't see it as a safe escape? But here's the gag, even paradise comes with shadows. Folks who know Dubai's underbelly will tell you straight. Those same royals who put diamonds on their steering wheels have been whispered about for years, and their appetites make Hollywood scandals look like Disney Channel reruns. The rumors about princes collecting pretty boys, or flying out Western celebs for things too wild to even print, didn't just pop up yesterday. Those stories have been circling for decades. So when people see French, a man already known for chasing bags, partying too hard, and cozying up to powerful men for a come-up, suddenly locking arms with a princess and a $7 billion safety net, the math looks just a little too convenient. Sure, maybe love is in the mix, but a lot of folks believe survival is the real motivation here. And this is exactly why 50 Cent's shade hits so hard. When he says French got bought, he's not just clowning the engagement ring, he's pointing at the bigger picture. The perception is that French didn't escape Diddy's storm, he just traded one master for another. He might V-run from bad boy drama straight into a situation where the rules are just as harsh, maybe even worse. Obeying powerful men with endless money and zero accountability. That's not freedom. That's another cage. French thought Dubai was his escape hatch. But if even half of those stories about the princes are true, he might have left bad boy's fire only to land straight on Dubai's stove. And here's the thing. Unlike the feds, who eventually move on, cut deals, or just drop cases, Dubai royalty plays for keeps. That's why this supposed $7 billion escape plan is looking less like French's salvation and more like a shiny gold-plated trap. He might have bought himself some time, but the real question is, at what cost?
Colin comes out, like we said, and now you have real deals on the table. And out of all those, you go with Diddy.
That's not how it really went.
Was it Diddy? Was it Bad Boy MMG?
Yeah, I went to go see Ross. And Ross was like, I got an opportunity for you. I don't have the money for you, but I got the opportunity. I guess because the same thing Meek did, the same thing Wale did. I guess whatever, the way the situation, his label was, he wasn't trying to give me the money I wanted. And I wanted like a whole bunch of money. But he was like, look, let's do it like this. Let's call Puff. And let's get him to give you the bag. You can still be MMG / you know what I'm saying? Bad Boy, Coke Boys, yep.
Right. How much money did you get?
$2 million.
Now let's rewind for a second, because you can to really understand French, you his sudden escape to Dubai without remembering how he even ended up in Bad Boy's orbit in the first place. French Montana didn't just pop up, drop pop that, and immediately secure his deal. Nah, the story runs way deeper than that. And sis, let's keep it real. The tea around that signing always smelled a little funky. Especially now, in light of everything that's exploded about Diddy these past 2 years. Fans are looking back at French's Bad Boy entry with brand new eyes. The whispers have always been there, but with lawsuits, testimonies, and receipts piling up, the timeline of how French linked up with Diddy is starting to look a lot more suspicious. Here's what people forget. When French was shopping around for a deal, he wasn't some random unknown mixtape rapper. He already had heat in the streets, buzz on blogs, and collabs with some big names. He had leverage, so why Bad Boy? And why Diddy, of all people, when others were circling too? That's the piece fans are now replaying, and it as making people wonder if French age ass past choices are what pushed him into this Dubai plan in the first place. French Montana wasn't some rapper with no options. He had doors wide open for him. Rock Nation circled, Rick Ross and MMG gave him serious interest, and even Kanye's camp flirted with the idea of bringing him in. But out of all those tables, French decided to pull up a chair at Diddy's. And that as the question that still lingers today. Why would a man with multiple offers sign to the one label most famous for shady contracts, bad money deals, and extracurricular requirements that allegedly had nothing to do with music? Because let's be real, Bad Boy wasn't just a label, it was a lifestyle. And for certain artists, that lifestyle became the real currency. The whispers back then claimed Diddy didn't just give French a check, he gave him access. Access to the wild parties, to the women, to the freak-offs, to the secret rewards that came if you played nice. Those were the rumors, and fans never stopped side-eyeing. And here is what made people even more suspicious. French himself admitted in interviews that he took less money up front than what Ross or Jay were offering. He turned down bigger bags to stand beside Puff. And when you add in the fact that French was constantly spotted stumbling out of those infamous villas looking half dead, looking like he had just survived something crazy, the internet kept receipts. Fans started putting two and two together, and to this day, they believe French traded a bigger check for something else entirely. Access to Puff's world with all the strings that came attached. People started digging up old photos and videos from 2016 through 2019 of French Montana, looking, let's just say, completely worn down. And guess what? The timing always seemed to line up with those wild weekends when Puff was celebrating him. After Diddy's arrest in 2024, the narrative only got nastier, because producers and ex-associates finally began spilling tea about what it really took to secure a deal with Bad Boy. One producer even swore that Diddy blackballed him for refusing to join one of those infamous freak-offs. So of course, the streets looked back at French's fast rise in the game and said, "Oh, so you stayed and took the deal. We know what that means." Now, is there a smoking gun with French's name on it? No. But let's be real. The circumstantial tea is boiling hot. You had Diddy gifting him his own Ciroc flavor, French vanilla, the day after the two were allegedly partying all night. You had that viral birthday video where Diddy was in a robe, French shirtless, both looking suspiciously spent. And then there's French himself, openly admitting he wanted the big bag, and Puff was the only one who promised to hand it over. To the industry, it looked like a regular label signing, but to the streets, it looked like a man willing to pay a personal price for career elevation. And that's exactly why people think he's playing the same game in Dubai. Because once you've shown the world you'll trade dignity for opportunity, folks assume you'll do it again, just with a bigger bag and a different master. The whispers now say French might have swapped Bad Boy as leash for Dubai, its golden chains. Hi guys, here's where the rabbit hole goes even deeper. In mid-2024, French Montana suddenly popped up at Paris Fashion Week. And he wasn't just showing off a new designer fit. No, he was allegedly showing off a fiancé. And not just any fiancé. Reports claim it was Chiara, a princess tied directly to one of Dubai's ruling families. Baby, that ain't no regular Bronx love story. That's a full-blown chess move. Because look at the timing. Right as the feds were building mountains of evidence against Diddy. Freak-off tapes, trafficking whispers, money laundering trails. And anyone too close to Puff was suddenly radioactive. Artists, assistants, producers, even casual friends were getting subpoenaed and grilled. And out of nowhere, French appears with a royal bride-to-be, almost like he'd already picked out his escape hatch. French Montana wasn't just some casual friend to Diddy. For years, he was practically Diddy's shadow. The birthday trips, the champagne endorsements, the constant cosigns. If prosecutors wanted to tighten up their case, French's name was guaranteed to come up. So what does he do? He doesn't just leave the country quietly. He links himself directly to one of the wealthiest families in the entire Middle East. According to reports, the Sheikh S family is sitting on a fortune worth over $18 billion, and that S not rap money, that's generational oil money. The type of money where 7 billion is just a rounding error. And when you marry into that, you don't just get money, you get protection, power, and residency in a place that does not play about outsiders digging into their business. The streets say French ain't really in love. He's in survival mode. They point to how fast the engagement happened, how perfectly it lined up with the heat back in the States, and how French has suddenly been living more in Dubai than in New York or LA. To fans, it looks like a fairy tale romance, but to critics, it looks like an escape plan disguised in Cartier rings and royal wedding vows. And the optics aren't subtle either. Every time French posts pictures with his princess, he looks cleaner, sharper, almost reborn. But the comments stay messy. Folks write things like, "Boy, you traded in Diddy for Dubai." Or the harsher, "Better hope them sheikhs don't treat you like Puff did." Because here's the gag. French thinks he leveled up by running to Dubai, but people who know the history of how Middle Eastern royals flex power will tell you, sometimes you don't escape the fire. You just walk into a bigger, hotter one.
What I actually learned, a friend of mine is an air hostess, and her friend was on a flight with her, and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body, and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So it's the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys, because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know, like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to
no 2-minute noodles.
And here, as the part French probably doesn't want to hear, running from Uncle Sam to the UAE doesn't always mean freedom. It might just mean you signed yourself into a brand new kind of contract, one that comes with even heavier chains. Dubai's image is all Lambos, skyscrapers, and pet tigers lounging on yachts. But the whispers about its darker side have been floating for years. Influencers fly in wide-eyed, chasing that tax-free glam lifestyle, then slip back home spilling tea about palace parties where outsiders were treated like props. Men and women alike, allegedly, reduced to playthings. And the truth is simple. When you step into that world broke compared to their billions, you don't set the rules, they do. Now picture French Montana stacked against Sheikh Amara's family fortune of $18 billion. He's not powerful, he's ornamental. He doesn't hold political sway. He doesn't carry generational clout. Sheikh Amara is the daughter of one of the greatest autocrats of our modern era. French? He was just a pretty foreign rapper brought in to add shine, but never strong enough to push back if they decide he is just another accessory. People online are already saying the move looks less like escaping Diddy and more like upgrading to new handlers. Forget freak-offs in Miami. Now it's private villas in Dubai. And let's not pretend the family French just tied himself to is squeaky clean. Remember Sheikh Amara's viral Instagram divorce in 2024? She shocked the entire world by dumping her husband with just 3 words, "I divorce you." It was bold, admirable even, but also proof of how messy royal life can get. And then there's the darker history, Princess Latifah's failed escape, Princess Shamsa's alleged abduction, all allegedly orchestrated by their own father, the autocrat ruler of Dubai, who also happens to be French's new father-in-law. Suddenly, that fairy tale glow looks cracked. Because when power that heavy decides you're disposable, freedom is not promised. That's why the internet calls this French's $7 billion escape plan. On paper, it's genius. Marry obscene wealth, secure residency, and hide under a royal shield if the feds come knocking. But socially, baby, it's déjà vu. For years, people clowned French as Diddy's boy toy, the shirtless dinners, the awkward birthday serenades, the Ciroc French vanilla promo. Now the gossip says he's swapped one sugar daddy for an entire dynasty of them. Habibis, the irony bites. Hip-hop once sold French as the gritty Moroccan hustler, Bronx-born, Coke Boy's pride. But Dubai royalty don't play like bad boy records. You don't outshine them, you don't embarrass them, and you sure don't outlive your usefulness if the whispers carry even a grain of truth. French didn't escape a velvet leash. He just traded it in for a golden cage. So yes, he got out of hot water in the States, but in Dubai, whew, baby, he might just be sitting on a boiling stove.
And I'm sure there were some other ones also.
Yeah. I came to Steve Rifkin when I had Chopper Down.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the office, it was him and Gabi.
Yep.
And Gabi was managing. I was like, yo, Steve, give me $200,000. Let me go make music. You know what I'm saying? Just let me. Steve was like, nah, I'll give it to you.
Never got it.
Never got it. I dropped.
Which is funny because Gabi's the president of SRC. Steve is like the CEO, but
so I don't know what type of
but Steve makes the final call.
Yeah. So I asked for $200,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's like.
And here's the gag. In all this chaos, the loudest voice dragging French is still 50 Cent. But think about it for a second. What if 50 ain't just clowning? What if he's actually trying to warn him? Because say what you will, 50 IS always had that big brother who roasts you but still wants you to eat kind of energy. And maybe, just maybe, the shade is really a warning shot. French, you might have traded one devil for another. If there's one thing everybody knows about 50 Cent, it's that his trolling skills are unmatched. He's not just petty, he's surgical with it. And for years, French Montana has been one of his favorite targets. Whenever French pops up in the blogs, you can count on 50 to slide in with a meme, a throwback photo, or a jab that leaves the internet in stitches. But here's where it gets interesting. Behind all the jokes, a lot of folks believe 50 sometimes drops the truth wrapped in clowning. Let's rewind to 2020, when French was bragging about buying himself a Bugatti. Instead of congratulating him, 50 posted a picture of the car with the caption, "Why buy this old sexual when you can even pay for the house it S parked in?" The internet erupted, dragging French's pockets. But looking back, fans now say that was 50 hinting at a bigger truth. French ace obsession with appearances and flexing, even if the math behind the scenes wasn't adding up. Then there was the time 50 accused French of being Diddy's sidekick, posting memes of French looking like he was carrying Puff's bags. At the time, it seemed like pure trolling. But after all the lawsuits and whispers about Diddy's wild parties, those jokes suddenly read like low-key warnings. 50 wasn't just clowning French for being close to Puff, he was basically telling him, "You're too deep in that man's mess, and it's gonna catch up with you." And now, with French tied to Dubai royalty, 50 is back at it, shading the engagement like it's another one of French's business moves. He joked about French being bought out, making it sound like he didn't find love, he just got recruited. To most, it's 50 being his usual petty self. But some people online are starting to wonder, what if the jokes are layered with real warnings? What if 50 knows exactly how dangerous this move could be, and his way of saying, "watch your back," is through memes and trolling captions? Because let us be honest, 50's been in the game long enough to know how these power circles operate. He's navigated labels, beefs, lawsuits, and even assassination attempts. So when he clowns French, it might not just be for laughs. It might be 50 doing what he's always done, mixing truth with comedy so it stings harder. And that's why fans are eating up this drama. On one side, you've got French looking cleaner than ever in Dubai, flaunting his princess and acting like he found salvation. On the other, you've got 50, roasting him every step of the way, reminding everyone that paradise comes with shadows. The clash is hilarious, yes, but it's also tragic. Because if 50's shade is really coded truth, then French might not have escaped Diddy's fire. He might have walked straight into something much hotter. 50 Cent's been shading French Montana for years, calling him washed, calling him a Diddy leftover, clowning every move he made. But maybe, just maybe, 50 sees something the rest of us don't. Maybe he sees the velvet cage French is walking into, a trap that doesn't look like chains, but feels just like them. Because those whispers about Dubai's golden cages aren't just rumors, they've been around for decades. But here's the twist nobody wants to admit. What if this isn't even a trap to French? We look at him like, damn bro, you sold your soul for protection, but maybe this is exactly what he wanted all along. Some folks chase freedom, others chase comfort. French might not see himself as a prisoner in some palace. He might see himself as the chosen one. The Bronx kid who hustled mixtapes and ended up with gold-plated security, air conditioning, and a driver on call. We might call it hell, but to him, it could feel like heaven. And that's why 50's jabs sting the way they do. Because deep down, they're laced with truth. 50 built his empire on independence, owning his name, flipping street power into boardrooms, and making sure no one could control him. French, on the other hand, might have flipped survival into servitude. But who's really winning here? The man still fighting for credibility in rap, or the man sipping tea behind palace walls, scandal-proof, shielded by billions and cashing in on royal insurance? It's messy, it's ironic, and it's the paradox French Montana now lives in. To us, he might look like property, but to him, he might truly feel like royalty. And maybe that's the wildest twist of all. 50 Cent might keep dragging him, but French Montana might just be smiling the whole time, because this was the plan all along. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you on the next one.